I want to talk to you guys real quick on voting. Voting is the number one way that you can interact with your democracy. It's the number one way that you can have a say. You currently. Unfortunately, voting for some of our population is now at risk. 25 million people have lost the stimulus check. It's a huge deal. It's a lot of money. They run into the issues of gas to get to the polls, because in some locations you can't just go down to your local library and vote. In some locations they have to travel some distance in order to get there. The other reason why this is an important issue is because without that stimulus, they become part of the 30% of the people that are now at risk of evictions due to the loss of the moratorium on evictions. Now, yes, the White House stated that they're going to look into that. Unfortunately, right now, where I live, there are cases going on where developers are not developers, but the rental agencies are trying to sue the city that I live near in order to end their local moratorium on evictions. They want that money. They don't care about the people. They want their money. I'm sorry, but that's what it is. Okay. They have, I guess they have their own people to feed or whatever, but they're willing to let people get kicked out of their homes in order to do so. How does this tie into voting? Well, pretty simply. What do you think is going to happen when they show up at the polls and their address doesn't match where they currently live? Okay, when they get that card, their ID, and they hand it out, and it doesn't match where they currently live, what do you think is going to happen? They're going to get sent away. In 2018, a lot of indigenous people ended up with a similar issue. In some areas, you don't really have a street address. You use a post office box. Unfortunately, in a lot of those areas, the voting laws provide that you actually have to have your actual street address on your identification in order to be able to vote. So it was like a scramble to be able to get people to get into a position where they could practice their democracy. It shouldn't be like that. The easiest thing for us as citizens should be to vote. There should be. We're in 2020, and it's a discussion on if we can safeguard our elections through mail-in ballots. Anyway, brings me to the topic of mail-in ballots. It's another way that we're having an issue with practicing our democracy. So I ended up getting a picture of, not a picture, but somebody sent me a document. And what it was the Trump mailer that came. And it's like, make sure you get your mail-in ballots. And then you cut on the television and he's saying that mail-in ballots is going to, be one of the biggest things that threatens our democracy. I'm sorry, but you're talking out of one side of your mouth here. You can't have it both ways. So what can we do about these things, in my opinion? I'm only me. I only have the ideas that I have, but let me throw a couple of them at you. Number one, make sure that your ability to vote isn't threatened, okay? So make sure that you're registered. Make sure you know where your polling is. Make sure that you have all your ducks in a row. You're off of work, whatever you got to do, okay? Vote. Get your mail-in ballots, whatever you have to do. Vote. Second thing that we can do is look toward our community. So maybe you live in an area where you know that you're going to go to the polls, but you have some people, some neighbors that may be struggling to get there. It should not matter which side of the fence that they're going to vote on, okay? We should be able to assist our neighbors in practicing their constitutional right, their rights as a citizen to vote, okay? Period. So going out and saying, hey, I'm getting ready to go to the polls. Are you interested in riding with me? Or, hey, I'm getting ready to order my mail-in ballot. Do you want me to show you how to get that done? Those things could go a long way. you would be helping someone be able to practice their right to vote. Like, there's no greater thing, in my opinion, than assisting somebody with learning how to use their voice. I talk about that a lot, using your voice. I'm using my voice, okay? I want to help you use your voice too. We can also spread the information through Twitter, Facebook, whatever, voting dates, deadlines, candidates, okay? The easier we make the process of voting, the more functional our democracy is. The harder it is for us to be able to participate in these particular structures, I guess we could say, the more of a chance that we run into issues like disenfranchisement, cheating, etc., 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 okay? Just want to discuss voting a little bit. Hopefully you took something from that. Hopefully it made sense. If I didn't, let me know. I'll redo the video. I'm at WIKWEKO on Twitter. That's Waco. I'm also at indigenouspatriot.com. Join me.